is one of them. And so on this episode of Giant TV, I talk with Vistage Chair Walter, and we have a great discussion about the incredible CEOs that he's working with and the C-suite executives and others. And also you're going to find out about Spartan races, because Walter is a champion in his age category for Spartan races, and you got to be a little bit crazy to run those races. I've watched them on YouTube. They're hilarious and really cool. So jump right in. Let's go watch this. You'll love it. You'll get a lot of nuggets from Walter. Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock, founder and president of Giant Jacks Media. This is Giant TV. This is our headquarter office in Southern California near Disneyland. Really excited for this episode. I have Walter Paulsen with us. Walter, welcome.
Well, hi, Paul. Great to be here.
Yeah, Walter, you and I have known each other for a bit. You're doing so many awesome things over there. You're a Vistage Chair, and in the Bay Area, the Palo Alto area, tech wonderland down there. So love to hear what are you doing? What are you focused on? What do you spend your time doing, and all the hot button issues?
So the center of what I do is being a Vistage Chair. I absolutely love the work. I've got a co-chair, and we have two peer executive groups. One's for CEOs, basically kind of between San Francisco and San Jose, and we meet once a month in person, and they talk about all their hardest issues. And it's incredibly validating work. I really love it. We've got another one for what we call trusted advisors, who are sort of fractional CFOs, accountants, digital marketing people. They have a different set of needs, but really benefit from that same, peer group idea. And then we have another one that we're launching for key executives. So that's sort of the person who reports to the CEO. And it's just really validating. I mean, the truth is that like being a CEO is a sexy title, but for most people, it's lonely and often kind of a crappy job.
Totally.
And everybody wants something. There's no great training for being a CEO except doing it. And the problems keep changing, with the company. And so there's always new things to learn. And I love the peer group. I love the peer group model. I have some other things I'm doing sort of one-on-one with executives, but that's what I'm up to.
Well, Walter, because of the area that you're in, the CEOs you're working with, are they necessarily tech CEOs, all tech, or is it more diverse? What does it look like?
It's more diverse. That was actually a surprise to me. And there are things, and so most of our Vistage members are what I'd call sort of, family owned, or companies with EBITDA.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
And there are things about the pace, age, and tempo of tech companies that sometimes they struggle, and the biggest they struggle to do a peer group, and the biggest challenge is getting them to believe that if they actually spend one full day a month outside the office, it'll make them more productive, more strategic and more focused. Because a lot of these people feel like they're drinking out of a fire hose, and it's like, hold on, you want me to spend a full Thursday talking about my stuff? I'm going to come home, I'm going to have 300 emails and texts, and the world's going to blow up. And kind of try and say, it's like, well, if you can't get away for a day,
one day,
think strategically about your business, then maybe there's stuff that you're doing wrong. You don't have the right team, you're not delegating, but it's an interesting thing. It's a bit of a lift to have that conversation with CEOs. And so I've actually expanded my practice. I love the Vistage work. I think that's the biggest bang for the buck. And it's just such a tried and true model. I mean, Vistage has had 150,000 CEOs kind of be Vistage members in, I think, 35 countries for the past 60 years. And it is really nails down what CEOs need to focus on.
Well, I want to ask you a question about that. So, and that's true when you say the schedule thing. It's interesting. It's a side note because somebody recently said to me, it was a business meeting. I said, "Hey, can you meet around, around this time?" And they said, "I own my schedule." That was their answer. So I'm like, "Okay, you just slayed it with that comment." So the answer was yes, I can. But anyways, you get together with the CEOs and you and I've talked offline. It is intense. I mean, people are not holding back. They're in there, they're vulnerable, they're bringing their issues, whether they're crappy issues or opportunities they have to the table,
Yeah.
is the way you described it. And so that really is happening there. People just let it go, which is where stuff gets done. Is that a fair way to describe it?
Yeah, totally fair. And it's something that we really strive for because
Yeah.
it's the easier way to go is what I'd call sort of the country club group, where people kind of check in, but they keep it light and they keep it at a high level, and they don't go deep into the things that are really challenging or the big
Mhm.
opportunities or what they're afraid of. And so, our goal, and I actually, learned this from an awesome chair in Orange County called Bob Davick, it's like we want to be like SEAL Team 6, dragging each other, kicking and screaming up over, the mountains of whatever it is they have to achieve. Because um, the easy stuff is kind of a layup. We want to get,
Right.
but I mean, these people are trying to figure out if they really want to grow. And that's
Yeah.
the point of this. If they want to grow and be resilient and make better decisions and be better leaders, some of that's going to be hard. And,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things really we work on as chairs, is to identify those issues and also have create a cohesion within the group so these people really trust each other.
What
And
Yeah, no, well said. And how do you deal with personalities? I mean, what makes you, so efficient at what you're doing? Because you got these type A personalities, great people who have been very successful. What is the stance you take in your role there?
great question. And I've done a lot of training with Vistage on how to approach it. And the secret is, did you ever see the movie Kung Fu Panda?
Oh, Jack Black, of
Yeah,
course.
Jack Black. And at
Of
the end of the
course.
movie, he's talking to his dad, who's the soup maker, and he says, like, "I'll tell you something, son. The secret ingredient, of secret of or the in secret ingredient soup is there is no secret ingredient." And what I mean by that is there's no one methodology or one approach that's going to work every time. And so you have to have a diverse toolkit that
Hmm.
you can bring to these conversations. Now, broadly speaking, we kind of have three. We have, I mean, three chair stances. One would be challenger,
Hmm.
which you're really kind of carefrondational and you're sort of pushing people hard. Another is champion, where you're kind of a cheerleader and you're inspiring. That's kind of my go-to. My natural is to be a champion for my CEOs. And then another is cherish, is called cherish. It's like you just kind of make them feel, for lack of a better word, loved and safe. And
Yeah, yeah.
everybody needs those in
Hmm.
varying degrees because we're all fully human.
Yeah.
Those would be the modalities. I'm probably 50% or more champion. That's my go-to. But part of what I have to do as a chair is recognize, it's like, does somebody need to be heard? Do they need to be held? Do they need to be hugged? What do they
Yeah.
need? And I
Yeah.
got to do the right thing for the CEO at the right time. And it's always changing.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about that because I had somebody recently on the show as a communication expert, and they were talking about effective communication, empathic listening, and how to have a conversation appropriately today, which is a lost art. But what you were just talking about, those are skills that you have to have being a chair, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, I think that's what keeps people coming back, is that they get value out of
Yeah.
the experience. And I think people come to Vistage largely for the chairs of their group, but they stay for each other. If we do it right, the
Yep.
chairs, the chairs organize things. We're kind of the ringmasters. We bring in amazing speakers and content. But in the peer group model, the real thing is to unleash the expertise that all these smart and high performing CEOs have and enable them to help each other.
Are they networking outside of the meeting, the monthly meetings? Are they a group? Are they helping each other out on stuff?
That's one of the things we really encourage is to do referrals, network, meet for coffee,
Yeah.
and do things outside the group. And and we've got sort of a whole group culture thing that we're very deliberate about trying to teach and create. This is the kind of group that we want. And because it's not enough to just behave in a certain way and expect everybody to follow your lead. And I think this is true, in businesses. It's like you have to tell people what you want, what you're trying to achieve. You need to live that, but we have to be teachers, constantly.
Well, I'm going to call you out here, and because I know this, we've chatted about it. I'm fascinated by it, but you've been very successful in your career, and you are a Spartan age group world champion. And I haven't done a Spartan. I've YouTubed the Spartan races, and I think, okay, anyone who does them is a little bit psychotic, But so tell me your background, a little bit about you and the Spartan thing. I mean, obviously these go into who you are and being a chair and help you out.
That's a little embarrassing, but yes, thanks for bringing that up. So I've been a lifelong athlete, not a D1 athlete. It's funny. Two of my daughters were, D1 divers, and and that's old. But I was just an athlete in high school and just kind of kept going and started running. And I'd run, a bunch of marathons and some hood to coast relay. So, but my main stuff had been running. Right. And then, kind of in my 40s, I started to kind of like get nicked up a little bit. Like if I'd push it as hard as I wanted to, or as I had previously in running, I'd get a little calf injury. I'd get a little thing, and it would be like, I need a different formula. And that formula was very dose dependent. It's like, I need to run less. So I started lifting more and working out, went to a trainer. And then I also have a very close knit group of friends who I run with, and they're mostly better runners than I have, if I'm being honest. But I'm kind of a former football player build in terms of, and I run
bigger guy.
I'm a bigger guy compared to my ectomorph running friends.
Yeah. And because running makes you thin, right? I mean, runners are.
And so I saw this Spartan race thing, and I convinced a buddy to do it, and it was great fun. And this is a friend we've probably done 70 running races together. For 15, 20 years. And he's beaten me in, 68. Like he had a bad day on one race. And
not that you're counting, but
not that I'm counting or bitter. But Spartan, all this extra upper body mass that I have is actually not a liability. And so we started doing Spartan races, and we were kind of going to a gym together and pushing each other. And in Spartan races, I think I'm actually ahead 6-4, but it's competitive. And ironically, my best thing was when I sort of won at the World Championships at Lake Tahoe when I won my age group.
Huge,
which was I was surprised, but he was there, and I was kind of like, I wanted to do as well as I could against the field, but I was really just trying to finish ahead of my buddy. And it turned out I won my age.
You won it. No, awesome. Yeah, those races can be brutal. And then your business success, of course, you've been through it yourself, which has got to help you being a chair and talking to others.
Yeah. So, much, and I bring different aspects of what's happened because I've been at a unicorn. I had led the team that built the gift card mall from an idea to 500 million in 4 years, and it was a real hockey stick. But I've also been at venture-backed startups where we raised money from top VCs, and the last good thing we did was cash the check, not because people weren't working hard and it was something we all wanted, but it just didn't quite put the right thing together at the right time. And like I've got one CEO I'm working with now who's not in Vistage, because I can coach CEOs anywhere over the world via Zoom. So this is a young CEO who's down in Southern California. His business is just crushing it. It's been growing 50% a month for almost a year. They're at a $5 million run rate, and VCs are coming, giving them more money. And for him, it's more of a stay focused and don't suck your own exhaust. It's like avoid hubris. And that's a different thing than somebody who's struggling with their with their business. And it really kind of depends on what's going on. I had another CEO who's more mature, and they just closed a significant Series B, but boy, it was a tough environment. And I was definitely cheering, you got this, you're going to do it, stay focused, this will come in. And it was it's great. They just got the signed term sheet last week, and I was like, phew. It's like, all right, now we kind of get to help you spend the money. But it depends, and that's the thing about this job, which I love so much, is depending on the different parts of my background, on when things really worked well, when things didn't, and blew up, and everything in between. It's like there's lessons that I have. And I just try, I so wish I'd had a peer group and a coach at different points in my career. The things that I could have, my hot hands, I could have played better. And some of I expect you have this. There's some of the things I just go do that. Like, what was I thinking?
Oh, of course.
And so I try to share those insights, with the people I'm fortunate enough to coach.
That's great. Well, I'm going to tell people this as I ask you this next question, is that for sure get connected to Walter wherever you're watching this, because we stream this everywhere: YouTube, LinkedIn, X. His contact information will be up here, maybe down here, depending on where you're watching it. But good guy to get connected to. And which leads me into the next question, Walter, is you've got some openings with your groups, and who are you looking for?
So so we've got openings in our CEO group. We would love to get someone from hospitality. That's an area we'd love to get someone actually from legal or banking. In terms of those are a couple of specific things, and we'd also like to get some women-owned businesses. That's one of the things we really value. Women and or minority-owned businesses, because they bring a different cultural perspective and insight. And so those are the things that we're looking at. These are mainly businesses at least 5 million in revenue. So they've got teams, and that's what we're looking for in kind of between San Francisco and San Jose. But the biggest thing is that these are folks who are willing to be vulnerable and admit they don't have all the answers. So it's really kind of an outlook and a desire to be better humans and make better decisions for their company. So that's really, it's the temperament that we're looking for.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Walter. Thanks everyone for listening here. And yeah, obviously you and I will talk again. Always interested in tracking your progress. Thanks a lot, Walter.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.